Speaking virtually is very different than speaking live. Hi, I'm Arvee Robinson. I'm the Master Speaker Trainer, International Speaker, and author of Speak Up, Get Clients. And yes, virtual speaking is different. And today I am going to share with you how you can speak out of the box while you're in the box. So let's get started. All right, so we are going to, for the next 20 minutes, talk about virtual presentation mastery and how you can master this virtual arena. But first, I just want to share a little bit about myself. I am Arvee Robinson, the Master Speaker Trainer, and I didn't always plan on being that speaker trainer. As a matter of fact, it was by accident. My job was as a systems consultant. I went to work in the 80s for a company by the name of Deloitte, and I was in charge of setting up financial accounting systems for small to mid-sized companies on microcomputers. Yes, back then that's when we had 10 megabytes of hard disk and we thought we had died and gone to heaven. So it was a revolutionary time. And so my boss came to me one day and said, Arvee, I want you to get out there and start speaking and tell people that we're offering this new service. And I thought to myself, I took one speech class in college. I was good to go. I knew everything there was to know about public speaking, or so I thought. Well, after several speeches and several attempts, I hadn't landed one job, not one project, and I knew something was wrong, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then one day, just like that, this woman comes up to me, she looks me in the eye and she says, honey, I hate to tell you this. Now I'm thinking, well, then don't. But she said, honey, do you know that after every sentence you say okay? I just looked at her and the only thing I could think of saying back to her was, okay. But I got it just like that I was the problem. That just because I could speak or flap my jaw did not make me a public speaker. So I decided in that moment that I was going to respect public speaking and get trained. And not only get trained, but I was going to master it. So I read every book I could find. I went to seminars, hired coaches, and it wasn't long before I would go out and speak and I would get clients. And the better I got, the better my clients got. And the better I got at communicating, the more upward mobility I moved in my firm and the more visibility I got. And life was great. And I had a beautiful career in corporate America for 23 years. And then one day I realized that I was at the top of my career. As a senior manager in a CPA firm, I could not go any further. And then I also realized that I no longer was trailblazing and making a difference, that I had become a middle manager, doing staff evaluations and training, and I was not doing what I loved to do. So I decided it was time to make a change. But I didn't know what kind of change to make. This was my degree. This was my career. So I did what any smart girl would do. I prayed about it. And God said to me, teach others what I've taught you. And I knew what he meant, public speaking. And so I left corporate America 17 years ago and I started my own business. And since that time, I have given over 3,500 speeches globally, all over the world. I've spoke on cruise ships. I've trained over 5,000 business owners, and I've hosted over 700 live events. And I have 30 years of speaking experience and 17 years training others. And again, this is my book, Speak Up, Get Clients. It has been a wonderful career. And I've been able to share the stages with some speaking giants. Maybe you know some of these people. Mark Victor Hansen, Sharon Lecter, Tommy Hopkins. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So a little bit about my family, though. This is my husband and our two children. This is Zeus and Zoe. We got them when they were 8 weeks old. They are now 8 years old, and Zoe has taken over the couch. Zeus has taken over the bed. And since the pandemic, well, Zeus has a little bit of a drinking problem. All right. So what I want to share with you for the next 20 minutes is I want to share some powerful, actionable information that you can use immediately. I want to motivate you to speak out of the box when you feel like you're in the box. And I want to invite you to learn more about virtual speaking. All right, so why add speaking to your business, you're probably asking yourself? Well, because it's the key to selling. It's the key to visibility. If people don't know you exist, then they're not going to know to go to you or buy from you. So you must be visible in order to sell. Bottom line is, if you want more sales, you got to get in front of more people. And there's never been a better time than now to reach people all over the world. Number one reason, though, is because you have a message to share that only you can share to people that can only hear it from you. And that message will change somebody's life, their business, or their soul. So that's why it's important for you to share it and get it out in the world. And I used to think that if you couldn't share your message, someone else could. It might be taken away from you and given to someone else. And then one day I'm in church and the deacon said this. He said, God has given you, each and every one of us, unique gifts. And if we don't use those gifts, they will be unused for all eternity. And in that moment, I thought, that's it. That's it. That's the same as our message. If we don't get our message out there, it will be undelivered for all eternity. And that means the people's lives that you were supposed to save, or the businesses that you were supposed to save, the souls that you're supposed to save will go on suffering for all eternity. So that's why it is so important. All right, so how do you become that powerful speaker on the virtual stage? Well, number one, you control the stage. Know that. It's very different from a live event. When you have a live event, you're not responsible for the stage. You're not responsible for the lighting or the sound, and everybody knows that. But when you're in this environment, this is your stage. Your background is your stage. So what is your background saying about you? Right? Are you doing your meetings in the bedroom, or is people seeing a bed? Do you have a messy background, unorganized? Or are you using a virtual background? Now, even with a virtual background, you're saying volumes about who you are and what you are, because people may be wondering what's behind that virtual. Why can't we see your real office? So my recommendation is to create a space that you are proud of. Create a space that resonates you. My brand is red, and you can see that. You can see I have some sayings up there. I have a dog. I have a cross. So it says a lot about me. And the books, the knowledge that I master, it says a lot. So create an environment that says what you want it to say. So set that stage and take the center of that stage. Be right in the center of your screen, leaning forward, being interested, and sharing your knowledge. So always be center stage, never be off to the side. If you are using a laptop, make sure you prop it up so that you're looking directly straight on into the camera and not down, because you might be showing somebody another chin that you didn't know you had. So I want you to look your best. So take the center stage and always find your light. Always find your light. You want lighting to be in front of you. You want natural light, and you want soft photography type of light. You never want to be backlit like this example over here. Always front lit, side lit. Let people see you. You want them to see every bit of you. Remember, everything in this environment too is magnified. Everything is magnified. So we have to look our best. And again, if we have bright lights, well, they can help to kind of take out some of our wrinkles, if you will. So always get good lighting. Also, we can't hear you. Well, you've heard that time and time again on these meetings. We can't hear you. You're muted or whatever. You want to make sure if you're speaking that you want to sound your best. Don't use and depend on the webcam. Instead, get a good microphone. The better the microphone, the better you will sound as a speaker. And there's plenty out there. You can get both lighting and microphones on YouTube, on Amazon, and you can also get them on eBay. So there's plenty of places. Now, if you do decide on a ring light, be careful if you wear glasses. Sometimes I've seen it where the rings are in each of the eyes, and that can be a distraction. You always want to minimize distractions as a speaker. Next is video. Use video in this environment. When I teach my clients how to do their signature talk, when it's live, I teach them not to use a PowerPoint because they can't control the environment. And who wants to schlep all that equipment? I've seen speakers sweat bullets before their presentation. So don't do that. But in this environment, it is an addition. It is an asset. So I recommend, no matter how long your speech is, use a PowerPoint. It will keep the attention of your audience. So I want to demonstrate how powerful video can be.
What I have learned from this $1 Million Speaker Summit is really the reason why I should be speaking, that your message matters, that your voice matters, and that what you have is unique to offer to the world. And I love Arvee's heart. I love her desire to leave a legacy and to raise up people who are going to make a difference in the world with their message.
Sell from the platform. It doesn't do you any good to have a big ticket item if you don't know how to sell it. So you must learn, you must get mentors and learn how to sell that big ticket item.
She delivers so much concise information. She has systems that she's sharing with us that allow us to use our speaking business to expand coaching and whatever else we're doing. It gives me a new perspective on speaking because now it's a vehicle to advertise other things. As a coach, as an author, I've needed something that will allow me to move to the next step in my life as a business owner.
All right, so powerful. Think of video, think of your promos, think of testimonials.
What I have learned from
I want to share with you a testimonial that is very powerful. Now, for you to get testimonials, you would have to have someone come to your event. You would need to, or you'd need to type it out and just put it on your PowerPoint. But look at what happens when you can get a video testimonial.
Hi, my name is Gail Gajardo, and I took Arvee's class, and oh my gosh, my life has been transformed. Using the simple math equation that she shows us on how many presentations to do per week and translate it to how many clients and leads that it generates and how much each client is worth, I am now making $60,000 a month. And I'm going to continue to be her student, and I'm so excited, and I just want to let you guys know this really works. Thank you.
All right, so use video in your presentations in the virtual world. Number 3, step into the spotlight. If you don't have a PowerPoint and you do just want to talk, make sure that you set yourself up for success by asking the host to tell everybody to mute themselves and put you in speaker view. Now, this is, again, if you're on Zoom. But that's not my favorite because it's still up to the individual. And if they don't mute themselves, then if they make a noise, they show up big on the screen instead of you. But what I really love is the spotlight video. Then you can be spotlighted, the host can spotlight you, and you will be big to everyone. Now, individuals can change it back to gallery if they want to, but you're going to be big to everybody. So I really love that if you're not going to use a PowerPoint, because otherwise you just get lost in a sea of squares, right? Sea of faces. Number 4, involve your audience. Now, in the live world, it's a little easier to involve your audience because we can see them. We can do high fives. We can throw candy. We can have them stand up and do their hero pose, all kinds of things. But in this world, it's a little different. But don't think for a minute you're limited. Just be creative. So how are we going to involve our audience? The chat box, that's very, very popular. So encourage people to use the chat box. They're getting used to it now, but what I like to do is ask people to tell me where they're zooming in from, what state, what city, what country, because now, again, we can reach people in other countries, and it's a safe thing for them to chat about. So always encourage to use the chat box and use reactions. If you're not using PowerPoint and you have a gallery of people, then you can always use reactions. Those are the little thumbs up and clapping hands, but now they have fun stuff like hearts and laughing faces and some other celebration reactions. So use those. Also, ask them to raise their hand physically. You can see this, right? Raise your hand, raise your hand. What I like to do is sometimes do high fives to the side of the screen, right? Do a high five to the person next to you on the screen so you can do some fun things like that as well. Nonverbals are those tiny little icons that are attached to your name. I don't like them very much because they're very hard to see. They're really small. But one advantage is that you raise your hand, they will stay up until you lower the hand, where of course the reactions come and go really quickly. Verbal involvement, a lot of times I will unmute everybody and I'll say, how cool is that? And they will say, how cool. Now in my $1 Million Speaker Summit, the event that you just saw, which was last year, I'm going to do again, but last year when people would say millions, when they got a good idea, when they heard a great idea that would make them millions, I would have them say millions, millions. Well, this year they can't do that because I need everyone muted. So I'm going to have them hold up a paddle, millions, millions. And when I say, how cool is that? They go, how cool. So you want to think of ways, creative ways that are different in this environment to involve your audience. Another thing that I do is I found these old glasses, right? I don't know how many of you remember Hobo Kelly, but you could say, I see Mary, I see Bobby, I see Johnny. So think of things that you could do and bring to your presentation that'll make it more fun and exciting. And of course, there's breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are great, only though if they are well managed and well explained. I mean, there's nothing worse going into a breakout room and not knowing what you're going to do. But I say with breakout rooms, be creative also. So what I do is I do scavenger hunts. Let's all find something in our office and then we talk about it. So I give them specific instructions on what to find. Then I break them up and they talk about it. It's a lot more fun. People get to know a different side of each other and it's just creative. So think of creative things that you can do in your breakout room, except for just introducing yourself and getting to know people. That is getting a little old. All right, and then there's the whiteboard. No one ever really masters that whiteboard. You know, it's really hard to write on and all of that, but I know kids are having a good time with it. And then I like to add quizzes to my PowerPoint. So for example, you should always write out your speech, true, false, or true only for online presentations. And then I'll encourage everyone to write their answer in the chat box. So the answer is false, by the way. Never ever write out your speech or you become a prisoner of your own words. And as a business owner, you don't need that. All you need is to outline what you're going to say, and you're going to practice and practice and practice. Of course, you're going to practice out loud 1 hour for every 2 minutes of your presentation, and then you'll never have to worry about forgetting what you're going to say. All right, number 5, bring twice your A game. Twice your A game. Why? Because we only have the waist up now. We only have the waist up. We don't have the luxury of people being able to see us moving around or getting closer to them or whatever, or even during our storytelling. We don't have that kind of advantage in here. So you need to bring twice your A game on. How do you do that? High energy. Whatever, however energetic you are, you need to just pump it up. If you have to go and work out and get all excited beforehand, or just do a mantra to yourself, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, whatever you have to do it, because you need to bring your A game on. It is not time to kick back jack time, right? It's time to full energy. Your goal as a speaker is to keep your audience's attention. Well, you know, you're competing against all kinds of things in this environment. You're competing with someone going to email. You're competing with someone doing something else on their desk. You're competing with so many things. You want to make sure that you show them that they need to be there every second with you. What I talk about in my $1 Million Speaker Summit is that $1 million P, right? People leaving the room during that time when they should have been present to hear that $1 million idea. It's the same in the virtual world. Don't leave it. Don't let your audience leave it, because there could be that message that they needed to hear, or that story that would have moved or changed their life. Hand gestures, you want to use hand gestures, but when you do, right, because they attract attention, right? Here's the new applause. Do not put them toward the camera. That does not look good. Keep them outside here. Excellent. Stand and deliver. I am standing and delivering. I have a stand-up desk that I put on top of my desk that I pull up when I want to speak. Mine happens to be called Stand Steady. It's more of a wooden one, but they have all kinds of different variety on Amazon. If you are going to speak and you want to be the best speaker in the virtual world, then stand and deliver. Look directly into the camera at all times. You can look down at your PowerPoint on occasion, but just like you would in the real life. But remember, every time you do, it's a disconnect from your audience. So do it as little as possible, and always look directly in the camera, not at your gallery view when you are speaking if you're not using PowerPoint. And find new tools to use. I've got a little document camera that I use, and it's taken the place of my whiteboard that I would write on. It sits on my desk. I turn it on, and all of a sudden you'll be able to see what I'm writing on my desk. Real nice little tool. You can get those on Amazon also for under $100. So find new tools. Some of those new tools for you might be that new microphone and the new lights too. So find new tools and know what the latest trends are. And they're changing every day. Let me tell you, they are rapidly changing. This environment is moving very, very fast. So not only the changes with the technology and with Zoom, but the changes in speaking. We are getting less time. We have to be more concise. That means we have to rehearse more. We have to practice more. And we have to deliver a lot more in a lot less time. So you always want to over-deliver without overwhelming your audience. So keep up with the latest trends in virtual speaking. So let me ask you one more question. Are you ready to step on that virtual spotlight? If you are ready, I want to give you some tools at which to do that. So grab your free public speaking tips and techniques. I have video tips on my website. You just opt in at arveerobinson.com. That's www.arveerobinson.com. And if you would like a closing script on how you can close in the virtual world, then go to arveerobinson.com/free closing script. Free closing script. So grab those 2 items and we will see you on the virtual stage.